Hey friends, today we are going to plant a low maintenance, drought tolerant, but super colorful and attractive planting here at our mailbox. So I'm going to share with you some tips on how to create a beautiful combination that is drought tolerant, that you don't have to be out fertilizing all the time and be real fussy over. It's going to be lots of fun. It is going to make a huge impact. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to give you an update also on the entrance bed that we did, 2 weeks ago almost now. So here we are at the entrance to the nursery, our house. This is the area that we're going to be working on right here, our mailbox. If you are a follower of Creekside, you probably remember that we had sunshine ligustrum planted all on the back perimeter of this flower bed. We've had them there for, oh my gosh, years. It has been quite a long time, and they just outgrew the space. They were getting really tall, really big, blocking the mailbox, and so we needed to go ahead and get those out. Even though I trim them faithfully once a year, they just outgrew this space. Plants do have kind of a shelf life, and so those shrubs it was time for them to go. So Jerry and Jackson came up last night and ripped them out, prepped the bed for me. Sweet fellas, I was cooking supper and they were up here working. So the shrubs are gone, and then they went ahead and laid down some bags for me of the black gold. We're using the raised bed and potting mix. This is the one that you can plant directly in. So whether you're doing a container, you're doing like an herb garden, a vegetable garden, and you want a really great organic blend to plant directly in, this is the one that you want to use. We like using this in our spaces where we're going to do our annuals, because I can just top dress, put all of this down straight onto the existing soil and then plant directly in it. I don't have to mix it in, right? So you can plant directly in this. It has aged forest products in there. It's got compost, it's got earthworm castings, extremely fertile soil. Because the plants that we're going to plant, they are great performers, high performers, but one thing, they don't need a ton of fertilizer, so that is great. So if you go ahead and amend your flower bed really well, I'm not going to have to use water-soluble fertilizer on these guys, but maybe just a couple of times during the entire growing season. So I am investing money by building my soil, my environment, a really nice home for these annuals that is going to serve me for years and years to come. So if we do this once a year and add into your soil, you need to invest in your soil, right? Because that is the home for all of your plants. And if you have a really nutritious, healthy ecosystem in your soil, then you're going to have gorgeous plants. So that is what we're going to do. Now, what plants are we going to use? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I have Johnny here filled with all of my supplies. We are going to use 3 different annuals. Again, drought tolerant, easy, low maintenance, no deadheading, no fuss plants. In the back for my my thriller, if you will, we're going to use the Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia. This is the new improved version from Proven Winners. So it's going to be more stocky, more vibrant, deeper, richer flowers, and just a massive pollinator attractor and hummingbird attractor. This is a wonderful plant. So we're going to use that in the back. Then, kind of as my filler, we're going to use Diamond Snow Euphorbia. I'm a huge fan of the Euphorbia series, like the Diamond series. There's Diamond Snow, Diamond Frost, Diamond Mountain. Diamond Snow is going to be a more dense, compact white than, say, Frost. Frost is really airy, and Mountain is airy too, but it gets really big. I don't want that big of a Euphorbia here. So we're going to use Diamond Snow, nice big solid pop of white. So we got the salvias in the back, then we've got the Diamond Snow next, and then down front is going to be the Mojave Yellow Portulaca. This too is an improved version. Last year they improved it. It was a test, and we tested it, loved it. And so now this year, that's what's out on the market. Now, Portulaca is fun because you may notice that a lot of the flowers, they're pretty much closed. And Portulaca will open and close with the daylight. Now the Mojave, part of that where they improved it was that it stays open longer during the day. We had this in the water trough last year. Huge, massive flowers on it. Beautiful in a container if you put it on the edge because it will trail over. In the landscape, it's going to act more like a ground cover, and it's really going to fill in the front of this flower bed with big, bold, yellow flowers. Again, another huge pollinator attractor. Now, in the past, I have had folks say, why are you putting plants that attract pollinators at your mailbox? Like your mail person is going to be upset with you. They're not. Lisa, who is our wonderful mail lady, loves our plants, loves these plants, loves the flowers. But that's the thing about pollinators. You've got to remember, honeybees, bumblebees, as long as you leave them alone and don't mess with them, they're going to leave you alone, and they are not going to come out. They are not aggressive like wasp or yellow jackets or any of those like bugs that we don't like. Pollinators are very friendly, docile creatures. So as long as we're not out there like actively trying to catch one, then they're going to leave us alone. So don't worry, my mail lady is well taken care of, and she approves of this planting. We are going to go ahead and amend as far as with the fertilizers. I'm going to throw down just a little bit of the Proven Winners, the continuous release plant food. That way this is released by temperature and it will feed the plants. And we are going to go ahead and throw down some Biotone also. Remember, Biotone is the great starter fertilizer that really encourages healthy root systems. And the reason that we're doing that is because, again, this flower bed is a great distance away from the house, from the nursery. And I say great distance, right? I'm not just casually walking by it all the time. So there is no water source close by. I'm getting these in the ground. Once they are established and have that great healthy root system, why I'm using the Biotone, I'm not gonna have to be up here watering. The only reason I'd have to come up here to water is if we go through an extreme like dry period with high temperatures. Then I have to come up and supplement the water. But most of all, I will leave this bed alone. We are going to use our Power Planter auger, and we're going to use, I believe this is the 7-inch or 5-inch. I can't remember. I need to go back and look. But it is the perfect size auger for these annuals. So that is what we are going to do. All right, so what I'm going to do is start laying out all of the raised bed mix, and all I'm going to do is empty the bags onto the ground and then just spread it evenly throughout the flower bed. And then that will be it. And then we'll go ahead and start placing the plants, and I'll have to figure out my exact design at that point. All right, so I got everybody placed and in their new homes. The raised bed mix is nice and spread out, evenly distributed. I got a little ahead of myself, and I put out the salvias before I realized, I was like, oh no, I didn't put down the fertilizer. So went ahead and did a little sprinkle of the continuous plant food in there from Proven Winners, and then did a nice little dosage of Biotone kind of as a top dress. Then I went ahead and got everybody placed. Now, before, I know some people are going to ask, because if you are a fan of Proven Winners and you understand Proven Winners, you will notice that some of my plants are not in Proven Winner containers. All Proven Winner annuals that are sold have to be in what we call the branded pot, right? So that white pot. We knew that we were not selling these because we have had these beds planned since last fall. and we have specific plants that are designated just for the nursery or video use. When Jerry and I were potting these up, we ran out of the branded containers. And so since we're not selling them, we just put them in some little brown pots that we had. So just know that we're doing everything by the books around here, and it is okay because we are not selling these. These are for nursery use only. So I just wanted to address that because I knew people were gonna be like, why do you have brown pots? It's okay, just settle down, people. So what we did is basically, and we do have wind, so some of my salvias are blowing over. This bed is going to grow as one huge mass. You're not going to be able to see any of the soil once these sweet things are grown. I did a double row of the Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia all through the back, right? So that is going to be my quote hedge around the back. You will notice that I left myself plenty of room right here. One, the plants are going to get big, so I need to give them room. And then two, obviously we have grass right here. This is not well manicured grass. This is, as my friend Ronnie says, this is God's grass, and so weeds will creep up in there. So I need to give myself plenty of room so that we can control the weeds and get the mower up close to the flower bed. So I left myself plenty of room on that side. Double row of the Rockin' Deep Purple, and then I just did a single row of the Diamond Snow Euphorbia. That too will be like a nice big white filler hedge in that half circle right there. And then of course in the front we filled it in with the Mojave Yellow Portulaca. So that is all right there and good to go. Some of the flowers are starting to open up as the sun gets a little brighter around here. If you're wondering, you're like, Jenny, all of these are full sun plants. Why in the world are you planting this in a shady flower bed? It is not a shady flower bed. It just happens to be in the shade right now. It will get the really full, intense, hot afternoon sun. It's about 11:30 in the morning right now. You can see that the sun is creeping in from the field and will come this way because the sun comes up behind the trees, but in the afternoon, it does get really intense hot sun. So this is a full sun flower bed. Remember, full sun means 6 or more hours of sun. This definitely gets 6 or more. So we're in that full sun category. So now, since I have already got the fertilizer in there, the biotones in there, all I have to do now is just come back and plop these plants into the ground. And then I am gonna go ahead and mulch this. That's another great tip when you have an area where you don't have irrigation, you can't get water to it. If you apply a nice thick layer of mulch to it, that helps retain the moisture and keeps those plants nice and happy so that you're not having to supplement that water as much. So we're going to get these in the ground and then get some mulch down. All right, my friends, so it is complete. I have all the plants in the ground today. Feels wonderful. Now, I will go ahead and tell you that yes, this flower bed is going to get mulched, as I said earlier. However, I am running out of time. I have my hair appointment this afternoon, and you know a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. And so Emily and Meredith are going to come up here and mulch it for me this afternoon. It's not going to take long. It's just that simply I don't have quite that amount of time right now to do it. But the great thing about using that raised bed mix is even if you didn't mulch it, it looks really nice. It doesn't have the perlite in it, and perlite's a little white balls, rocks, for lack of a better word, right? So this does not have that. And so even if you didn't top dress it with mulch, which we have done that in other flower beds at the house, it looks really nice. So you could aesthetically not mulch it. Remember, I am mulching it to help retain the moisture so that I'm not having to be up here watering it like crazy. Now you will notice that some of the salvias they're kind of skinny and tall. That is simply because of growing them in the trays in the greenhouse, and so they were going straight up basically, right? We have ones that are in gallons at the nursery that are really super thick and full. If it bothers you to have a little salvia tree like this, you can easily come in with your clippers like right here and then just snip it, and then those two will become branches. Now, having it sitting out here where the sun gets all around the plant now, it will naturally branch out. You can see that it has all the little side shoots. Those will get nice and thick and full. So again, this whole flower bed is just gonna fill completely in, and you're not gonna see any soil at all. You can see the sun has arrived and we are in full sun, and it will remain in full sun for the remainder of the day. So this bed is complete. Very super happy about it. We are expecting some rain in a couple of days. The plants were nice and well watered. We had 6 inches of rain a couple of days ago, so this ground is nice and moist. The beautiful thing about salvias is that they'll let you know if they're dry because they will get limpy. So I can just kind of watch the plants, and as long as the plants are nice and perky, then there's no need for me to come up and water. We're supposed to get rain in a couple of days. We'll just gauge it. This is the time where it's newly planted and the roots are starting to get established. This is where, for me, is the most critical, that I have to watch it and watch my water. Once this has been in for several weeks and it's nice and established, it is good to go. Unless we hit July and the temperatures go up and the rains stop, then I'll need to come up here, once a week or so and get a really nice, good water on it. But other than that, it is good to go. I really don't even have to worry about the water-soluble fertilizer because I used all of those wonderful the raised bed mix with all the nutrients in it, the biotone, the slow release fertilizer, and these are not heavy feeders. So there you go. Very happy with how that turned out. And then to give you a little quick update on this flower bed, literally right across the drive, everybody is doing amazingly well. The ajuga is still just going crazy. I love it. And then that pagoda dogwood, I adore this tree. It is just absolutely stunning, gorgeous. Cannot wait to see how it does throughout the entire year. The impatiens are doing well. Coleus is doing well. Everything is looking great. The rhododendron has started to bloom, and so beautiful, nice pop of color there. The hostas are fantastic. In the wind, poor little Summon Substance right here has gotten a little beat up, but everything has just done really, really well within the last, it's been a week, a little bit over a week, and hydrangeas looking good, very happy. We have not gotten the irrigation set on this yet. So the irrigation is not in this bed. It will be within the next, I would say, week. With all the great rain we have gotten, everything has done wonderful. I have not watered this one time, so it's very encouraging. People ask us all the time if we deal with deer. We do not. We have deer here. I attribute it to the fact of we have so much natural area and natural vegetation that they are not hungry because they have enough food source, and so they don't eat our plants. And then, obviously we're out here in the country, and so people hunt also. So there is a little bit of that herd control, natural control on that aspect of it. What I do deal with here are raccoons. So raccoons are pesky and they will dig up my annuals after I plant them. I think either they're going after the fertilizer, I don't know what they're doing, but they will literally dig it up and just put the plant off to the side. It drives me insane. And so that happened on this flower bed the night that we planted it. I came by the next morning and like 10 of my annuals had been picked up and tossed off to the side. I was able to get them back in the ground, but yeah, those pesky little critters, they're cute as a bug, right? Raccoons, cutest little things ever. But man, they are mischievous for sure. So flower bed is doing great. I love it. I cannot wait till it fills in even more. We're currently in a very cool spell. We're going down to the 40s at night and then only reaching like upper 60s during the day, hence the sweater. Lots of wind, gorgeous crystal blue skies. So everything is beautiful here as far as that goes. Once the heat hits, these will of course just like whoosh, just skyrocket out of here. So if you're looking for a very low maintenance, drought tolerant, easy but colorful combination, you cannot go wrong with the salvia, the euphorbia, and the portulaca. They all come, obviously the diamond snows, those are all white. The euphorbias are all white, but your salvias and your portulacas come in an array of colors. So if you don't want to do purple and yellow, you want to do pinks and oranges, go for it. You want to do blues and reds, yay. So there's lots of great colors out there within those series. It really is a personal preference on your color palette, but all of those plants are rock star performers, low maintenance, high performing, drought tolerant. Love, love, love them. So as always, I hope you have found this fun, inspiring, and informative. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.